I used to think learning faster meant grinding harder. More hours, more notes, more highlighting, more I'll catch up this weekend. And then I realized something ugly. I wasn't learning slowly, I was learning inefficiently. I was collecting information like a hobby and calling it progress. That's the perfect trap with AI too. If you use it to collect more information, you just drown faster. But if you use it to change how you practice, how you recall, and how you apply, it turns learning into something that sticks. So I ran a real test on myself, not a watch a video at 2x speed test, a test where the goal was simple. Learn something faster and prove it by doing something with it. Real output, real performance, not vibes. Here's the headline. A, I didn't make me smarter, it made me more focused. It forced clarity, reduced wasted study time, and turned reading into training. And that's why it worked. The first thing I had to fix was the way I started. Most people start learning with a topic. I want to learn sales, I want to learn editing, I want to learn coding, I want to learn finance. That's too big. It feels productive because it's ambitious, but it's a fog machine. If you want to learn faster, you don't start with the topic. You start with a deliverable. What will you be able to do in 7 days that you can't do right now? A script you can write, a tool you can use, a skill you can demonstrate, a result you can measure. So the very first thing I did was force the deliverable. I told AI what I wanted to be able to do, and I told it I needed a plan that fits real life, not a fantasy schedule. I also told it the one rule that prevents AI from turning your learning into more noise. It has to ask questions before it teaches. Once I had that, the whole workflow became simple. You're going to use AI for 3 jobs only. You use it to build the shortest path, you use it to create drills, and you use it to test you hard. Let me explain what I mean by shortest path, because this is where learning usually dies. Most courses teach the whole map. AI can do that too, but the whole map is not how humans learn fast. Humans learn fast by walking one path until they can run it. So instead of asking AI, teach me everything about X, I asked it something much sharper. I asked it to identify the minimum set of concepts that create 80% of the result, and then to turn those concepts into practice tasks. Not study tasks, practice tasks. That is the difference between reading and training. Reading feels safe, training feels a little uncomfortable, training forces you to retrieve, explain, and apply. And that's what makes learning stick. Here's what my week actually looked like. Day 1 was clarity and scope. I defined the deliverable, I defined the time I actually have, and I defined how I'll prove I learned. I stopped the I'll just learn a lot lie. Because if you can't prove it, you didn't learn it, you just consumed it. Day 2 and 3 were drills. This is the part nobody does because it's not fun, but it's the part that makes the whole system work. I had I generate small exercises that force me to use the skill, not just describe it. If you're learning writing, the drill is writing. If you're learning editing, the drill is doing edits. If you're learning sales, the drill is sending messages and handling objections. Day 4 was a stress test. I had I create a scenario that would break me if I was faking it. A timed challenge, a messy input, a real-world version with constraints. That's where you find out what you don't know fast. Day 5 was compression. This is where learning gets dramatically faster. You take everything you think you learned and you force it into a 1-page explanation you can say out loud. Not a long doc, a tight explanation. If you can't explain it cleanly, you don't own it. Day 6 was output. I shipped the deliverable. Whatever the thing was, I produced it. Not perfectly, but I produced it. And then I compared it to day 1. That's how you feel progress, not by reading more. Day 7 was review and template. I wrote down what worked, what didn't, and I saved the prompts and drills so the next learning sprint is even faster. Now that sounds like a lot, but the reason it worked is because it wasn't a huge daily time commitment. Most days were 30 to 60 minutes. The speed came from not wasting the first 20 minutes deciding what to do. The big mistake people make when they try to learn faster with AI is using it as a tutor. Tutors can be helpful, but tutors also let you sit there passively. Explain again, give more examples, can you simplify? That feels like progress, but it's still mostly consumption. AI becomes powerful when it stops being your teacher and starts being your training partner. A training partner doesn't just explain, it pushes you, it corrects you, it forces you to produce, it gives you feedback. So the way I used AI was aggressive. I told it to be strict, I told it to grade me, I told it to point out where I'm cheating and where I'm vague. And because I never gets tired, it will do that every single time as long as you make it. Here's the core mechanism that made the biggest difference. I stopped ending study sessions with, I understand. I ended them with, show me what I can't do yet. That one shift turns AI into a mirror, because if you ask AI to test you, it can generate new questions endlessly. It can change the scenario, it can force you to explain the concept in different ways. It can simulate a customer, a boss, a client, a deadline, a mistake. It can make you practice where the skill actually lives. And there's a second thing AI did that I didn't expect. It made me stop overstudying the wrong parts. When you're learning something new, your brain has a habit of falling in love with the comfortable parts. The theory, the definitions, the foundations. You can spend 10 hours there and still not be able to do the thing. AI is great at pulling you back to the point. If you ask it, what is the smallest next practice task that would move me forward today? It will keep dragging you toward action. That's why the whole system is built around next steps and drills. Now, let me be honest about what didn't work. When I tried to use AI to create a huge study plan, it made me feel productive, and then I didn't follow it. Too many steps, too much perfection, too much overhead. When I tried to use AI to summarize books, I got nice summaries and retained almost nothing. When I tried to use AI to generate endless flashcards, I got a pile of cards that I never reviewed because it felt like homework. The winning approach was smaller and stricter. Deliverable first, shortest path, drills, stress test, compression, output, review. And if you want the fastest way to make this real, here's the simplest version you can run this week. Pick one skill you want to learn and one deliverable you can ship in 7 days. Something concrete, then open AI and have it design the shortest path based on the time you actually have, not the time you wish you had. Then tell it to produce practice tasks, not reading assignments. Then ask it to test you hard. And every time you miss, you don't get discouraged. You just found the exact thing to drill next. That's what learning faster actually is. It's not collecting more, it's targeting what you don't have yet and training it until you do. My results weren't magical, but they were real. I got to output faster, I got less stuck, and I could explain what I learned without looking it up. That's the standard. If you can explain it and use it, you own it. So if you've been using AI to learn by consuming, flip it. Use AI to learn by training, force a deliverable, force drills, force tests, ship something, then repeat. Because once you realize AI is better at building practice than it is at giving you more theory, you stop drowning in information and you start getting results